So you've probably heard the term data lake buzzing around. It sounds huge, maybe a little mysterious, but it's a really big deal in how we handle data today. But what on earth is it, actually? All right, let's dive in and make sense of it all. Here's the game plan. First, we'll cover what a data lake is, then why we even needed them in the first place. We'll get into the infamous data swamp, and trust me, you want to avoid that. Then we'll talk about how to do it right, and finally, look at the next big thing, the data lakehouse. Okay, let's kick things off with the absolute basics. What are we really talking about when we say data lake? At its heart, it's super simple. A data lake is just a giant central place to store all of your data exactly as it is. No filtering, no organizing beforehand. It's all just poured in its raw, natural state. But honestly, the best way to get it is with an analogy. And this is the analogy that started it all, from James Dixon, the guy who actually coined the term. Think about it. A traditional database is like bottled water. It's been cleaned, processed, and put in a nice, neat package for you. A data lake? That's the actual lake. It's raw, it's natural, and you can do anything with it later. It's such a perfect way to picture it. And when we say the whole lake, we mean it. This thing can hold everything. You've got your nice, tidy, structured data, rows and columns from a spreadsheet, but you can also just dump in semi-structured stuff like log files or JSON, totally unstructured things like emails and PDFs, and even binary files like images, audio, and video. All of it just sitting together in one massive pool. Okay, so storing everything in one place sounds kind of cool, but why? What was so broken about the old way of doing things that we needed this whole new approach? Well, it goes right back to that guy James Dixon. He created the term data lake to be the exact opposite of what everyone was using at the time, something called a data mart. And here's the heart of the problem. Those old data marts were like the separate bottles of water. The sales team had their data, marketing had theirs, finance had another. This created what everyone calls information silos. The data was trapped, isolated. You couldn't get a single clear view of anything. The data lake was designed to be a sledgehammer to those silo walls. And this wasn't just some niche tech dream. Big, serious players like PricewaterhouseCoopers saw the potential, saying this whole approach could finally put an end to those data silos. The promise was absolutely huge. So the idea was amazing. A single source of truth, no more silos. What could possibly go wrong? Well, it turns out the very freedom and rawness that makes a data lake so powerful is also its biggest risk. I mean, just think about it for a second. A beautiful, clear lake is great, but what happens if you just keep dumping everything into it with no rules, no management, no cleanup crew? You get a data swamp. And that is the term for when your beautiful data lake becomes a murky, messy, unusable quagmire. The data's all in there, somewhere, but it's so disorganized and undocumented that it's basically useless. This quote from Sean Martin just nails the horror of it. He called them big data graveyards. Companies would get excited, dump all their data in, and then just completely lose track of what they even had. All that potential just rotting away. A graveyard of lost information. So the big criticisms really boil down to this. Number one, obviously, is that huge risk of creating a data swamp. It happens because users just lose track of what's inside. On top of that, the term data lake itself can be pretty vague, meaning different things to different people. And the hard truth is, a lot of these big projects don't end well. Okay, so is the data lake just a bad idea? Not at all. It just means you can't be reckless about it. So let's flip this around. How do you actually build a successful data lake and keep it from turning into that dreaded swamp? Turns out, the path to success has less to do with the technology and more to do with your strategy. You've got to start with a clear business purpose, not just, let's collect all the data. You build it up slowly over time. You actually identify what data matters. But the most important step, it's a total shift in mindset. And McKinsey put it perfectly right here. A successful data lake isn't a technology outcome, it's a service model for delivering business value. The goal isn't just to have a lake, the goal is to use the lake to answer questions and help the business. When you start thinking of it as a service you provide, everything changes. And that brings us right up to the cutting edge. Because, of course, the story doesn't end there. The whole idea continued to evolve, leading to a new hybrid approach that's getting a lot of attention. Everybody, meet the data lakehouse. The name pretty much says it all, right? It's an architecture that tries to combine the best of both worlds, the massive flexibility of a data lake with the rock-solid structure and reliability of an old-school data warehouse. And you can see the logic here. From the data lake side, it keeps that awesome ability to handle any kind of raw data and store it cheaply. But from the data warehouse side, it borrows crucial features like reliability, data quality rules, and structure. So you get the wild, powerful lake, but with some of the safety and predictability of clean, bottled water. So we've gone from lakes to swamps to lake houses. The evolution never really stops. And that leaves us with one big final question to chew on. As the absolute flood of data just keeps getting bigger and bigger, what comes next? What's the next great idea that's going to change how we store and understand our world?